here. It's Reverend Deanna Cox here with DKR United Online. I'm back. It's been a while. For those of you that don't know, I was off on medical leave from middle of December until just now. And I am so incredibly grateful for being able to take that time to focus on my well-being. I was going to say to get well, but I think wellness, it's not a stop point. It's a continuous journey that I have been very intentionally reminded of in this time that I was away. And so I'm very grateful for the time to focus on my well-being. And so I thought I might share with you today some of the things that I've learned while I was away, because I think they're very important. And I learned a ton, and I'm not going to share it all with you, obviously, because we don't have time. But first I wanted to say that one of the first things I learned was how utterly exhausted I was in every manner of the sense. And I didn't even realize that until it gobsmacked me right in the face. So, when people start, repeatedly telling you to make sure you're taking care of yourselves, and and are you doing stuff to focus on your well-being, pay attention, because maybe they're able to see something that you aren't. And one of the other things that I realized is that even though we talk much more about mental health issues today than we did even a short time ago, there is still a lot of stigmas attached to it, even if it's just a stigma that we have ourselves. Some of the first feelings I had when I was setting up my leave was, well, I don't really feel like I'm sick. Like, people will think I'm faking. And it's like, that was me. That wasn't any outward, well, I imagine it was influenced by outward contributions, but that was my own self telling. And so I think we talk about love our neighbor as ourselves. And there's two things in that. I think we need to be kind to people that are going through mental health struggles, and also that we need to be really kind to ourselves. I don't know if any of you are watchers of the show Heartland, but one of the last episodes that we watched actually dealt with mental health and addiction issues, and one of the characters criticized the main character for being able to see the woundedness in animals and their need for therapy to get better, but unable to see that same woundedness in a human. And I think that often that we're like that, but in many ways, that we can see the woundedness in others but not ourselves, or we can see the woundedness in like a broken bone, but we can't see the woundedness in our hearts or in our minds. Which brings me to another thing that I learned, is how very much of the things that we say to ourselves in our own brains, our self-talk, how very much of that often ends up being negative. And even without realizing that it's negative, there's the obvious, well, I can't, and we can try and rephrase that, but a lot of our fear is rooted in some sort of a negative self-talk or negative teaching that we've embodied, anger, just so much of what is blocking us from the fullness of our being is coming from some sort of negative self-talk. I really realized that as I was inching towards being well enough to come back, and just like as I encountered things that were blocking me, and it was like, oh wow, oh that's negative too, oh wow, oh that's negative too, oh. And like when you take a moment and breathe through it, it's amazing how much negativity there is. And so because of all of that, I also learned how incredibly vital it is to do the little things that fill our cup, and not just tune out or numb ourselves from what is going around in the world, to sit with those emotions even if they're hard, and then to do something, to make the time and the effort to do something that actually fills our cup. I've been doing a lot of drawing. Some of you may not know, but I actually love to draw and doodle. And so I've been spending, that's actually how I did a lot of my journaling, and processing what I was going through, was drawing pictures of it. And I meant to grab my pictures and share some of them with you today, but just before I was headed over to the church to record this, my cat burst a can of pop all over the living room floor. So another time I will show you some of my pictures, but it's a really good way. Like, art therapy didn't just happen. It's actually a very cathartic way to process emotions, I find, for me anyways. And so I've been doing a lot of art and listening to music that fills my cup, and singing and dancing along with it, and going for walks in the country, spending a lot of time at our family farm, which fills my cup and actually stirs all the emotions and pushes me to just sit with them. So yeah, those are some of the things that I learned and that I did. And as I said, I don't think that wellness is a stop point. It's not like my broken arm is now fully healed and I don't have to do anything else about it. It's more like my shoulder that I injured, where it's going to need some slow and intentional rehabilitation and lifelong commitment to better boundaries and to doing things that fill my cup with joy, and learning to sit with hard emotions and all those things. So I want to thank you to everyone who reached out and offered me support, and especially around Christmas, to all who dropped off some goodies. They were much appreciated by myself and the family. And even to those of you whose support was silent in respecting my time away, I appreciate that as well. I must say, it made stepping back and taking that time a lot easier, knowing that I had your love and support. And so from my heart, I appreciate every single one of you. And you were the ones that I missed. I missed you, the people. And And so my gratitude also goes out to the M&P committee for receiving my need for a leave with grace and with support. And a huge thank you to Sandra for holding the office together while I was away, and to Reverend Scott Reynolds and Helen Reed for their support and their ministry to you and with you in my absence. And there's so many more. I'm so grateful for my care team that have been helping me with restoring my spirit and my well-being. And yeah, it's been a journey, and as I said, well-being, I think, is a continuous journey. And one of the things that I have done is set an alarm on my phone to take 5 minutes a day to do nothing, to simply breathe and tune into my body, into my spirit, into my emotions, and just know where I'm at. And then from there, to use that to guide how if I continue on with what I was doing, or if I need to do something else. And so I invite you to share with me in a moment of check-in of ourselves, because, you know, something that I'm still wrestling with is the profound amount of grief that is in our world. We've lost some loved ones and been unable to gather to celebrate their life. We've, even just, I shared an article about the loss of touch and how that is really impacting our well-being. All those kinds of, the political environment for many is a source of grief. The racism, so there's a lot of grief, and that's something Steve will start talking to me about this, and I'll just say, you have to stop, because my heart is just, I'm finding it hard to breathe, and I, but I have to be able to sit with that and find the hope to carry on, to make the world a better place. So, all of that, I invite you to join me. Instead of, you can think of it as, it's a prayer. It's a very personal prayer of well-being that has no words, actually. It is just our breath and the words that go on in your own personal head. I invite you to frame something positive, because as I said, so much of what we share with our own selves is negative. Something that I have been repeating to myself as I return to work is that I am resilient and capable. You could say I am healthy and happy. You could pick what is going to be for you. And just as you breathe in, breathe that in, that intention, and breathe out to worry, the stress, the negative. And then as you continue with that breath, to tune in to how your body is feeling, to how your heart is feeling, and to where your spirit might be. So we'll just take a couple minutes now and join me in this breath, personal well-being breath prayer. Let us pray. For your body, for your heart, for your spirit. Amen. Well, friends, I am thrilled to be back in the office. I have been given permission to return to work with modified duties for the next couple weeks, which means I'm doing some office hours only. I will not be leading your Sunday service. And I'm taking this time to gently ease into the work of the day, to practice my good, healthy boundaries, and to prepare for the season of Lent, so that when I return with you, I hope to be resilient and capable, as I tell myself that I am. So thank you so much for joining me today. God's blessing be upon all of you, and please take time to care for yourselves. Take time to reach out to others, as so many of us are struggling in this extended time of isolation and uncertainty that we've been in. And just reach out and listen with your heart. So take care, and I will see you for a midweek reflection next week. Bye. Love you.